In Excel 2019, Microsoft introduced a new web query experience. If you were on Excel 365, depending on your update schedule, you got that sometime between 2016 and 2019. The new web query, let's take a look at the new web query tool. Just come to Data, and then From Web. You click on that From Web, you'll get an interface that allows you to put in a URL, and this is the new way that Microsoft has for doing web queries. It is more powerful than the old way, but it's also more complex. And if you are looking, especially if you're looking at the code that gets generated, the VBA code, if you record yourself in that process. What I want to do is show you how you can access the legacy web query even from Office 365 or Excel 2019. That legacy web query might be more useful for doing some simple kinds of web data extraction projects, especially if you're going to automate them using VBA. This video will not talk about the automation process, it's just showing how to use the legacy, or how to access the legacy web query wizard. So the way to get to it, so far as I know, there's no way to get through the menu system, but if you search for web query, you should see a link to the legacy web query. So you can see the icons look just the same. And in fact, Microsoft has just replaced the old web query interface with their new interface. And you'll see why as we go ahead and click on the legacy web query, so From Web Legacy. So brings up a little browser that's built into Excel, and immediately you'll see, even on fairly simple pages, we get script errors. This built-in web browser just doesn't handle JavaScript very well. Well, the good news is that it's really a problem with the wizard itself in terms of being able to pull data and refresh data once the queries are built. The legacy web query still works quite well. So you'll end up saying here, do you want to continue running scripts on this page? No, and it will ask you several more times depending on what page you're on. Once you get past those warnings, you can go ahead and put in the address that you want to pull data from. I'm just going to pull data from gov.net/quotes. It's just a page that I built for showing a different quote from the Founding Fathers each day. So I'll say go. And now it has brought on this particular quote. If I refresh the page, it should bring another one. So here's one from George Washington. Here's one from James Madison. So each time the page is refreshed, it brings a different quote. So I'm just going to click on just this table that holds the information from the quote, and I will say import. Then ask me where I want to put it. I'm going to go ahead and put it in like A1 and say OK. And so now it brings that information back here. Let's get rid of this text box. Zoom in. And so now that's a web query. On my data page, if I say refresh all, it should make a request back to that web server and the new data will come in. And so that is how we can access the legacy web query wizard from Excel 365 or Excel 2019. If you're on Excel 2016 or 2013, then that's just your default web, your get data from web experience.